You don't look like a first-class guest. You look like someone who steals hotel towels." The words sliced through the cabin air like broken glass, sharp and unrelenting. Zion flinched instinctively. His small plastic pilot cap slipped down over his eyes. Monica Hayes didn't say a word. She simply reached down, steadying the cap on her son's head, her gaze fixed straight ahead, steady, unblinking. Amber Sloan stood firm in front of them, arms crossed, a smile stretched wide but cold all teeth. No warmth. The tray table beside her held 2 untouched drinks and a boarding pass, now torn clean in half. Zion's tiny fingers clenched tightly on Monica's sleeve. "Did we do something wrong, Mom?" "No," Monica answered softly, voice calm. "We just sat in our seats." Amber leaned in, her voice rising, sharp enough for half the cabin to hear. "Then you're in the wrong seats. First class is for paying guests only." Monica's hand moved deliberately to pick up the torn boarding pass. We are. From the galley came a cynical laugh. Gabe, the other flight attendant, called out, "Sure, and I'm the airline CEO." A ripple of chuckles spread through a few nearby passengers. One looked down, avoiding eye contact. Another quickly turned away. Then from row 2C, a woman stood steady, confident. "I saw them check in. I saw the scan." Amber's eyes narrowed, but she ignored the challenge. "Ma'am, if you don't comply, you will be removed from this flight and placed on the no-fly list. You're causing a disruption." Monica didn't raise her voice. She pulled a sleek, matte black phone from her purse, no case, no stickers, and dialed 3 digits with practiced ease. No hesitation. She had done this before. Hawaii de Rican, white code. Flight 980. Cabin 1. Begin real-time integrity capture. The call ended with a quiet click that seemed to echo somewhere deep within the plane's metal bones. Gabe rolled his eyes, sneering. "Lady, who do you think you are?" Monica placed the phone face up on the tray table. Its screen pulsed a steady blue. "I think," she said softly, "you just chose the wrong passenger." Zion looked up at her, confused but trusting. Behind them, a red light blinked silently. In row 4A, a phone had started a live stream. The camera caught Zion's trembling hands, the torn ticket, and Amber's triumphant smile in sharp focus. 9 minutes and 40 seconds later, no one from that flight crew was still on that plane. And the world was about to learn not every woman who dresses simple comes without power. Stay until the end. Because when justice boards a plane, it never flies, Coach. Amber leaned forward, snatching the torn boarding pass from the tray table, flipping it like a worthless scrap. "I honestly feel bad for the boy," she said loud enough for half the cabin to hear. If his mother had acted with some dignity, he wouldn't have to witness this. Zion stiffened. His small fingers unclenched slowly from the teddy bear in his lap. He turned to the window, blinking rapidly, the blink of a child on the edge of tears. Monica tilted toward him, voice low and steady. She pulled his hoodie collar higher, hiding the pilot badge he'd been proud of. Across the aisle, a woman paused mid-apply lipstick, glanced toward them, caught Amber's smug smirk, then turned back to her phone. Gabe leaned against the galley wall, arms folded like a judge. "Seen this before?" he muttered. "Something dressing clean, bringing a kid, acting polite, means a free upgrade. Always the same story." Monica didn't flinch, but traced the seam of her dress with a finger, once, twice, thrice, counting threads to stay grounded. Zion whispered, "Mom, we can just go sit back there." "It's okay." Without looking, she replied, "No, we're staying. These are our seats." Amber turned back, voice sharp and performative. "This attitude delays flights." Entitled, "Defiant." And dragging kids into it, shameful. A man in 3A silently raised his phone, ready to record. Outside, the gate's last call echoed. Inside cabin 1, tension snapped tight. Monica's hand found Zion's. Her gaze locked with Amber's, not with fear or anger, but a silence so chilling it made even the confident hesitate. Monica opened her bag with deliberate calm. No rush, no panic. From inside, she pulled a slim leather wallet and placed it on the tray, like evidence in a silent trial, a Starlift Atlantic Platinum card, a Georgia driver's license, a printed backup boarding pass. Each item aligned perfectly. Amber sneered. Color printing's cheap. Anyone can fake these. She waved a dismissive hand. Your name's not on today's VIP manifest? Stop pretending. Zion looked between the documents and his mother. His voice cracked. But that's our name. I saw it scanned. Amber cut him off softly. Sweetheart, it's not your fault. But when adults lie, things get complicated. Monica's hand hovered, then folded the papers carefully as if tucking away a secret shield. The cabin door hissed open. Captain Travis King stepped in, tall, white uniform crisp, gold insignia shining. His presence shifted the air. What's the issue, he asked coldly. Amber stood at attention. Unauthorized passenger refusing reassignment. Documents don't match the manifest. Without a word to Monica, Travis inspected the tray table. Fake, he said flatly. Old templates, dead clients' names. Nothing new. We're not any for us. Zion's voice trembled. But my mom, she's not on the system, Travis cut in. Neither are you, Gabe shrugged. Classic trick. Fancy name, neat clothes, hope no one checks. A murmur ran through the cabin. An elderly woman in 1D leaned forward, studied Monica, then sank back silently. Zion gripped Monica's hand tighter. Mom, they say you're fake. Her expression didn't change, but behind her eyes, a sharper light flickered. Not fear, not sadness, something stronger. Amber's voice faltered for the first time. Ma'am, please comply or we'll call security. Monica's voice was steel. You can try. Captain Travis narrowed his eyes, voice calm but edged. You keep resisting, we can place you on the no-fly list. Disruptive passengers don't get second chances. Monica looked up. Her tone didn't waver. I'm not disrupting. I'm sitting in the seat I paid for. Amber swiped her control tablet with visible irritation, scanning through the seat assignments. No Carter in the current log, she declared loudly, ensuring nearby passengers could hear. Seat 1A is unassigned. Jason Whitmore was reassigned this morning. Gabe leaned in, voice mockingly casual. So she's not even supposed to be here. Probably printed that pass at home. It's an old scam. Then came a soft, barely audible click. On Amber's tablet, a digital change flickered. Assigned Monica Carter vanished, replaced by unassigned. She had erased Monica from the system. Near the galley, Jade, the youngest flight attendant on board, noticed a new entry flash across her backup tablet. Manifest modified, 1142A. Marin Inuwarndu. Beneath it, override by Sloan. Her eyes darted between Amber and Monica. Her lips parted, then closed again. Protocol said stay silent. But something inside her shifted. Monica said nothing. She gently rested her hand over the phone. Angela, she whispered into her earpiece. Cabin 1A. Log tampered. Activate real-time monitoring. The level 2, a voice responded instantly confirmed. Cabin now under internal capture. Audio, visual, and action logs recording. Amber hadn't noticed. Gabe chuckled as he leaned against the wall. She's really calling people like someone's gonna swoop in and save her. Monica didn't reply. She placed the phone face up on the tray table. Its blue screen pulsed softly. Zion leaned in, whispering, Mom, what are you doing? She didn't look at him, only replied gently, We're recording the truth. That's all we need. Nothing in the cabin looked different, yet the atmosphere changed heavier, tighter, like the plane itself had gone quiet to listen. Jade inhaled slowly, her fingers hovering above her tablet. Then she opened a hidden app titled Procedural Misconduct, Internal Observation Mode. She tapped record. She's been sitting there since boarding. I saw it, said a voice from seat 2C, clear, steady, aged with experience. Heads turned. The speaker, a white-haired man in a wool blazer, stood with the help of a cane. If she's forced to leave, then I'm leaving too. There was a pause, not long, but enough to make people glance at each other. From a few rows back, an Asian woman stood slowly. I don't know the full story, but if this is how you treat people who follow the rules, I don't feel safe flying with you. Amber rolled her eyes. You are interfering with a federal crew and command protocol. Gabe snapped from his post. This is not a courtroom. You don't get to vote on seat assignments. This is an aircraft, not a town hall. Captain Travis stepped forward. His tone sharpened. If any more passengers disrupt crew operations, we will remove all involved parties. This is your final warning. Zion pressed closer to Monica, his fingers slipping beneath her hand as if trying to disappear. Monica looked at her son, then turned her attention outward. Not toward Travis, not toward Amber or Gabe. She stood, not to resist, not to argue. She simply stood tall, composed, and let her voice rise, calm but unmistakably strong. There are places, she said, eyes sweeping the cabin, where people will do anything to make you feel like you don't belong. But the truth is, they do that because deep down, they know you do. A hush fell across the rows. For a moment, the only sound was the faint hum of the cabin vents. Zion stared at his mother, eyes wide, not with fear, but with awe. It was the first time he'd ever heard her speak like this. Not as his mother, but as someone who had chosen, finally, not to stay silent. Near the galley, Jade's hand trembled slightly. She glanced at Monica, then back to the log screen. She didn't need to ask for permission. She tapped the red icon. Begin abnormal cabin record, live sync initiated. Her voice was barely a whisper. Recording misconduct. Cabin 900 Enosh. Witness entry started. Captain Travis was too focused to notice. Gabe and Amber still believed they were holding the narrative. But the passengers, something had shifted. The silence had changed sides. Captain Travis took a deliberate step forward, fingers already pressing the side of his radio. You have 30 seconds to leave the seat, or we will initiate formal removal, he said, his voice flat, final. And you will be banned from Starlift Atlantic indefinitely. Amber straightened beside him, arms crossed like she was about to witness her own personal triumph. Gabe chuckled. There's always one, he muttered. Thinks the rules don't apply. Then cries victim. Zion squeezed his mother's hand. Mom, are we getting kicked out? His voice cracked on the last word. Monica didn't respond. Her breathing remained calm, steady, too steady. Around them, the cabin grew colder. Not the air, but the atmosphere. Passengers looked away. A woman lowered her phone. A man adjusted his tie. Another flipped a magazine page without reading. It felt like the end. Like pressure had won. Like silence had swallowed any chance of fairness. Gabe turned to the aisle, clearing space. Let's not hold the plane for a personal protest, he said. She can explain it all from the gate. Amber leaned slightly toward Monica, her voice sugared with mock courtesy. Last chance, ma'am. Still, Monica didn't speak. She didn't stand, didn't shout, didn't beg. She simply turned to Zion, and in that gaze, there was no fear, no surrender, only something precise, quiet, calculated. Zion blinked, then whispered, I trust you, Mom. Behind them, the quiet red blink of a phone camera signaled something else entirely. In row 4A, the live stream had already begun. Monica reached into her bag, fingers finding a sleek black device no larger than a glasses case. She opened it with a quiet click and tapped 3 times on its glass surface. A soft tone chimed in her ear, not loud enough for anyone else to hear. Angela, she whispered. Cabin 9H. Initiate emergency protocol. Internal system only. From the cockpit panel above, no sound came. But in the crew dashboard, a blinking alert appeared. Emergency Protocol 4, internal only, confidential. Amber didn't notice it. She was too focused on tightening her grip on control. You're still here. You think pressing buttons will change the fact that you're not on the list. Gabe leaned in closer. You need to leave before you're escorted off. This is done. Monica didn't respond. She tapped again. The glass on her device turned blue, then shifted to a map not of the flight, but of a moving marker on the ground. Clara Westbrook, arrival tracking, ETA 4 Men's. The edges of her mouth barely moved. Truth doesn't need a seat assignment, she said. It just needs to arrive. Zion blinked. Mom, who's Clara? Monica lowered the device slightly so he could see the screen. The reason they're going to stop talking soon. Back in the galley, Jade's tablet vibrated. She looked down and saw it. Internal compliance triggered. Observation mode active. Non-Revo C arrival detected. Her heart skipped. Non-rev OC, that was internal code for an off-duty corporate officer. Someone not flying for leisure, but for evaluation. And Monica had triggered it. Jade stared at her across the cabin, and for the first time, saw the truth that others missed. Monica hadn't just been enduring. She had been watching, documenting, planning. Captain Travis was speaking again. Something about gate agents and authority. But his voice was already fading, overtaken by the slow, invisible shift of power. Gabe tapped Amber's shoulder, annoyed. "Why's the dashboard flashing?" Amber turned to the screen. A tiny red icon had appeared in the corner, one she'd never seen before. She tapped it. It refused to open. Then another line appeared. "Live oversight review in progress, 342 remaining." Amber stared at the flashing red icon on her dashboard. She tapped again. Still nothing. Then a message appeared: oversight delegate en route, Clara Westbrook. Arrival gate C9, ETA 0243. The name hit her like a cold gust. Gabe leaned in. Clara Westbrook, that's internal affairs, right corporate level. Amber didn't respond. She tried to swipe the screen clear, but the message held firm. Instead, a live countdown began. 0241, 0240. Something shifted in the air. Not loud, but sharp. Electric. Like the moment before thunder. Monica calmly closed her device and placed it back in her bag. She straightened her dress, smoothed her lap, then poured the last of her bottled water into Zion's cup. "Do you remember what I told you?" she asked softly. Zion nodded. "Sit still. Watch your righty West 01. In the galley, Jade stood frozen. She'd heard the name Clara Westbrook before. Everyone at Starlift had no entourage, no announcements, but entire departments shuddered after her visits. Captain Travis, still unaware of the storm gathering, turned to Monica. "Final request. Exit voluntarily, or we escalate." Monica didn't blink. "You'll want to delay that escalation." "Trust me," Amber snapped. "You don't get to make demands. You're not in control here." Monica's reply was steady. "I was never out of it." In seat 3D, a woman leaned toward her partner. "Did she say Clara Westbrook?" He nodded, eyes still on Monica. "If that's real, someone's about to get fired." Amber's screen flashed yellow. Countdown at 0117. Delegate verified. Access confirmed. Gate door override unlocked. She cursed under her breath. Gabe glanced at her, voice unsteady. "She can't really be coming up here. Can she?" No one answered. They were all watching Monica, the woman who had barely spoken, yet now commanded the room. Gabe couldn't hold it in any longer. He stepped forward, voice raised, thick with frustration and disbelief. "You people always do this. Play the victim, stir up drama, flash some fake credentials, and expect us to fall in line." Monica didn't flinch. She didn't look at Gabe, Amber, or Travis. Instead, with calm precision, she reached into her coat pocket and pulled out her phone. One tap, the screen lit up. A live stream was already running. Over 10,000 viewers watching. Two news tickers slid across the bottom of the screen. Woman allegedly denied first-class seat despite valid boarding pass, and incoming executive may witness discrimination live. Amber froze. Zion sat still, eyes locked on his mother. Monica's gaze swept the cabin, not at one person, but every single soul aboard. Her voice was steady, deliberate. "I'm not playing anything," she said. "I'm recording." She paused, letting the weight settle, then spoke slower, with unmistakable clarity. "And I don't need you to believe me before it all collapses." A heavy silence fell, thick and suffocating. Every noise in the cabin dimmed. Even the hum of the overhead fans seemed to retreat. Jade, frozen near the galley, didn't dare breathe. The couple in 3D sat rigid, their earlier smirks wiped away. Gabe took a half step back, swallowing words he couldn't form. Amber's eyes flicked nervously to the screen where the countdown now showed 0034. 34 seconds. Suddenly, it was no longer Monica who needed to explain. It was them, one anyone doing. The screen glowed a harsh white, sterile as a hospital wall position eliminated. Access terminated. No appeal available. Monica sat still, unmoving. Only the soft click of her mouse broke the silence, as if another refresh might rewrite the verdict. It didn't. Beyond the glass walls of her office, the hallway buzzed with muffled congratulations. New hires, promotions, champagne flutes tapping against ceramic mugs. But inside, her world was quiet. Final one issue. 6 years earlier, she had held the title Director of Training and Protocol Enforcement at Starlift Atlantic. With that came secured logins, access to internal oversight archives, and a seat at Clara Westbrook's Strategic Review Board. Now it was over. She stepped out. The corridor brimmed with executives in dark suits and practiced smiles. No one met her eyes. At the far end, Clara stood. No clipboard. No assistant, just a manila folder in hand. Their eyes met. Clara approached, steps unhurried. I voted no, she said. Monica didn't blink. The board voted yes. Clara gave a slight nod. They said your presence contradicts the brand image. Too firm. Too yudum. Visible. Monica gave the faintest scoff. Too unwilling to disappear. Clara handed over the folder. Severance. NDA. Closure package. Monica flipped through the pages, her face unreadable. You know I won't sign this. Then you lose everything. I already did. Clara hesitated, then drew a smaller envelope from her coat. This won't help now, but if one day you choose not to stay erased. She didn't finish. Monica took it, pocketed it, said nothing. She walked away, past faces she trained, offices she helped design, through a lounge where she once lectured on equal visibility protocol. No one said a word. The exit door opened to wind and silence. Cold slapped her cheeks, but she didn't slow. The box wasn't heavy, just one banker's box with her name in fading ink. Inside a photo of Zion at 6, training audit notes, a lanyard, and her old ID badge. Monica sat on the couch, curtains wide open, sun sharp on her face. No shadows to hide in. Zion walked out in his school shirt, backpack still on. They took your desk? She nodded. They fired you? No, she said quietly. They erased me. He frowned. Why? Monica held up a crisp sheet, non-disclosure agreement, required for severance eligibility. She let it drop. They offered silence in exchange for my pension. My health care. My name, Mogram. Zion picked up the page. But you didn't sign it. No. Why? She looked at him. Because silence isn't always safety. Sometimes it's surrender. Zion sat still, the way kids do when they know something sacred is being said. She reached under the couch, unlocked a small safe. Inside 2 envelopes. One read mortgage. The other was unmarked. Clara's envelope. She didn't open it. Just stared for a long moment. Then went to the kitchen. Boiled water. Tradition in versus in a washing. Maybe tea. 2 mugs. One with honey. Zion joined her, legs swinging off the stool. So, what now? We keep going, she said. Without bitterness. Without apology. You're not mad. I'm furious, she said. But I won't be loud. I'll be ready. She reached for the NDA again. Tore it down the center, folded the halves. Burned them over the sink. And didn't look back. The email came on a Tuesday. A promo blast from Starlift Atlantic Return to Excellence. Business class. 60% off for loyal flyers. Monica stared at it for a moment. Her finger hovered over the delete key. Then she clicked open. The background image showed the exact model she used to certify new crew on. Same seat map. Same blue LED wash over leather headrests. Same flight code series FL370. In the lower banner, it read Route JFK to San Diego. Seat 3C available. Zion walked in, munching on cereal. We going somewhere? She turned the screen toward him. Would you get back on this plane? Zion looked closer. That's them, right from before. Monica nodded. Same fleet. Same route. Same system. Zion didn't speak. She closed the laptop. Walked over to the safe. Opened it again. Pulled out Clara's envelope still sealed. Then pulled out a smaller one, her savings. from a side consultancy job she'd taken after leaving. Long hours, silent work, no title. She laid both envelopes side by side. Then, slowly, she peeled the seal on Clara's. Inside was a single black card. No name, just a chip, and one line of text, protocol override, internal delegate use only. She turned to Zion. "We're flying that airline again," she said. Zion blinked. "But they erased you." Monica smiled faintly. "Then let them watch me arrive." It was raining that day. Monica stood in front of the revolving glass door, clutching the last box she'd carry out of Starlift headquarters. Her coat was soaked. No one offered an umbrella. Behind her, the building gleamed faceless, flawless, as if it hadn't just erased a decade of her work. Clara appeared beside her. "No umbrella either." "You grew up in Atlanta, right?" Clara asked. Monica nodded slowly. "Zone 4, near the old freight yard." Clara's gaze was steady. The girl who got full ride to Howard, ran discipline boards at 19, filed her first workplace appeal before she could legally drink. They never knew who they hired. "They just thought I'd sit quietly," Monica replied. Clara opened her purse and pulled out something small, an envelope. Not the usual cream-white HR issue. Matte black, unmarked. "This doesn't open doors today," Clara said. "But if one day you decide the silence has expired," she handed it over. Monica took it without a word. That was 6 years ago. Now, in the cabin of Flight 370, as Amber stared at a frozen screen and Travis stood paralyzed mid-command, Monica reached into her wallet. No one saw the card until it hit the sensor. It beeped. "Soit termine." Green light. Internal delegate authorization accepted. From the cockpit, a second chime followed. Then silence. In the gate terminal, Clara Westbrook walked calmly toward gate C9. No briefcase, just a folded coat. Security flanked her without speaking. She paused at the jet bridge, checked her watch, and smiled. Back on board, Monica turned to Zion. "You remember what we said?" Zion nodded. "Sit still. On your watch, Ornitun." And as the system unlocked from within, not by force, but by protocol, Monica stood, not to leave, but to step forward. And for the first time in years, the system, the same one that erased her, recognized her. The green light on the tablet blinked once, then held steady. A message hovered on screen override, accepted. Delegate authority recognized. Monica didn't sit back down. She turned calm, composed, not defiant, just exact. Amber watched her, eyes darting between Monica and the screen still stuck on ETA Clara Westbrook. 0209. Captain Travis opened his mouth, uncertain. "Ma'am, I need you to know," Monica said, not loudly, but with precision. "You don't—" She walked toward the galley. A quiet ripple moved across the cabin. No turbulence, just pressure, a shift in gravity that didn't come from outside. As she passed row 3, Gabe leaned slightly out, as if trying to reclaim space he no longer had. Monica didn't glance. The intercom panel unlocked. She tapped once. "There was a sonchwant." A quiet chime echoed, and the speaker system dimmed. Not muted, overridden. Amber reached for her headset. Too late. Monica spoke into the receiver. "This is Internal Delegate Westbrook 4. Cabin 9-3. Status compromised. Authority re-engaged." She turned toward the passengers, her voice no longer private. "For any internal observers listening, you'll want to activate Witness Sync. Because this won't stay inside for long." Jade dropped her tray. The couple in 3D clutched each other. Travis stepped forward. "You can't just yes." "I can," Monica said, finally looking at him. "Because you're flying my system. I trained your lead trainer, and she learned protocol from me." Then silence again. No one moved. No one breathed loud. And in that moment, 89 souls aboard, a pressurized cylinder 32,000 feet above ground, only one voice held authority, and it didn't belong to the captain. A sharp click, the intercom light turned red, then blue. Witness Sync activated. Screens flickered on throughout the cabin seatbacks, galley panel, cockpit backup. Each showed the same banner, live review mode, delegate authority engaged. Row 7 gasped. Someone began filming. Amber lunged toward the front. You're violating chain of command. Monica didn't even look. Chain of command doesn't apply during delegate review. You should know that. I am the flight lead, Amber snapped. You were? Monica corrected. Now your evidence. Tersurson. Amber froze. Gabe pushed up from his seat. She's not even with the company. She stole that card. But the system pinged. Voice print authentication, Monica R. Westbrook, Inshuri, yes, Messer, cleared. Level 4. Warner Surson. Gabe's face twitched. He tried again. This is illegal. This is manipulation. No, Monica said, stepping forward. This is accountability. Delayed, Mark, but not denied. Travis looked between them, sweat beating at his temple. I don't understand. Is she even cleared to discern? Captain, Monica said without edge. You trained under instructor Tillman, correct? He nodded slowly. And Tillman was certified by Director Ramirez. Another nod. She smiled faintly. I trained Ramirez. A beat. Then the system chimed again. Delegate override confirmed. Hold cabin. Await internal boarding. Outside the window, a terminal vehicle began to approach. In the cabin, no one spoke. Just a camera shutter clicking softly. One by one, the passengers sat straighter. They weren't watching a passenger. They were watching the system reclaim itself from the inside. Monica settled into seat 1A, a brief moment of calm finally washing over her. Then her tablet vibrated violently. A secure video call popped up the screen, filled with the stern faces of the Starlift Atlantic Board of Directors. Clara's voice broke through, colder than ever. Monica, effective immediately. You are suspended from all duties as CEO pending a full investigation. Shock rippled through the cabin. Amber's lips curled into a triumphant sneer. Travis's face paled. Monica's heart sank like a stone. She locked eyes with Clara on the screen, who looked away silent, unreadable. This isn't just about the flight, Clara continued, voice clinical. We've uncovered allegations of unauthorized system access, manipulation of flight operations, and breaches of company protocol. If proven, this could cost you everything: your position, your reputation, your career. A wave of whispers swept through the cabin. Phones lit up as the news leaked live. Monica swallowed the lump rising in her throat. She'd fought so hard to reclaim her place. Now it was slipping through her fingers like smoke. But the real blow came moments later. A second video call appeared. The face was unfamiliar, a new executive, the company's chief compliance officer. We have unanimous consent from the board to revoke your delegate privileges immediately, the officer announced coldly. You are barred from all company systems. Effective now. Monica's tablet screen blinked. Access denied. She stared at the words as if they were a verdict from the void. Her phone buzzed with messages: CEO under investigation, Flight 980 scandal, unlawful override claims. The room tilted. Monica's world shrank to this moment of near-total defeat. Amber's victorious eyes locked onto hers, shining with cruel satisfaction. Monica whispered, so this is how it ends. But deep inside, a fire ignited. This wasn't the end. It was the abyss before the climb. The news exploded across every channel, internal and external alike. The CEO under investigation. The flight scandal that rocked Starlift Atlantic. Monica sat alone in a small, dimly lit conference room, the glow of a laptop screen reflecting in her determined eyes. With a deep breath, she clicked Go Live. Her face appeared on thousands of screens: employees, passengers, media, even board members. This isn't just my fight, Monica began, voice steady. It's a fight for truth, for integrity, for all those silenced and erased. She released the full cabin footage, the logs, and every internal message proving her innocence and exposing the crew's misconduct. Comments flooded in support, outrage, hope. Jade's recorded testimony played live, clear, undeniable. Passengers' videos surfaced, showing Amber's abuse, Gabe's mockery, and Travis's threats. Pressure mounted like a rising tide. Board members convened again, this time with a different tone. Clara appeared beside Monica's live stream, nodding in solidarity. The chief compliance officer's voice was silent now. Monica was reinstated, not just as CEO, but with expanded oversight powers. She returned to seat 1A this time, with the entire system watching. No one dared question. Amber was demoted. Gabe and Travis placed under investigation. The cabin erupted in applause, not just for Monica, but for justice served. Monica looked at the cameras, a quiet smile breaking through. The sky doesn't belong to uniforms. It belongs to standards, she said softly. And with that, she closed the chapter not as a victim, but as a victor who refused to be erased again. The boardroom was tense, suffused with low murmurs and hurried whispers. Clara stepped forward, the weight of authority settling around her like armor. Enough, she said sharply, silencing the room. The eyes that had doubted Monica now flickered with uncertainty. Clara turned to the panel. The evidence Monica has presented is undeniable. It reveals serious misconduct by members of this board and the flight crew. A collective gasp echoed. She pulled up footage of Amber's tirades, Gabe's sneers, Travis's threats, each moment painstakingly documented. The system is broken, Clara declared, but it can be fixed. She proposed a sweeping overhaul, new protocols prioritizing transparency, respect, and integrity, enforced by an independent oversight committee chaired by Monica herself. Whispers turned into nods. Resistance waned. Clara's resolve became the catalyst Monica needed to regain control. Outside the conference room, word spread rapidly. Employees and passengers alike awaited the formal reinstatement. The day had come. The entire company and stakeholders gathered, eyes fixed on the stage where Monica would reclaim her rightful place. Clara stepped aside, giving Monica the floor. With calm authority, Monica outlined the new vision, a future where respect reigned over hierarchy, where silence no longer meant consent, where truth would always find a voice. The board unanimously voted to reinstate Monica as CEO, with expanded powers to lead the transformation. Amber, Gabe, and Travis faced formal investigations and consequences. As Monica returned to seat 1A on Flight 980, applause erupted not just for her, but for justice restored. She met the eyes of passengers, crew, and Clara. The sky doesn't belong to uniforms. It belongs to standards, Monica said softly. And with a quiet smile, she sealed the chapter, no longer a victim, but a victor who refused to be erased. Amber stood rigid at the aisle's edge, fingers trembling as she slowly removed the metal name tag from her uniform. The cold clink echoed sharply in the tense silence of the cabin. She placed it deliberately on the service card, an unspoken admission of defeat. Her eyes flicked once, lingering on Monica's calm face in 1A, then quickly averted. No trace of the confident authority she once wielded remained. Gabe sat motionless, lips pressed tight, his usual smirk replaced by a flicker of fear. His eyes darted nervously between the passengers, who now stared like silent jurors. Travis shuffled forward slowly, shoulders hunched. Each step was weighted, as if dragging the remnants of shattered pride behind him. The cabin held its breath. Not a whisper, not a sound. All eyes were locked on the three. No pity, no sympathy, only judgment. The soft but insistent clicking of phone cameras echoed, capturing every moment. Knowing this was more than a firing, it was a reckoning. Amber's gaze locked with Monica's, a flash of hatred and reluctant respect shimmering briefly. The contrast between them was stark. Monica poised and in control, Amber broken and exposed. The flight crew escorted the trio toward the exit. Their steps echoed softly, retreating from power and disappearing into the unknown. A single passenger whispered, "Justice finally arrived." The moment Amber, Gabe, and Travis disappeared from view, a palpable shift swept through the cabin. Phones were raised instinctively. Live streams started quietly but quickly spread like wildfire. Faces lit by screen glow showed relief, hope, and quiet triumph. Passengers exchanged glances, nodding with unspoken agreement. A middle-aged woman's whispered voice broke the silence. Finally, justice is here. It wasn't just about Monica, it was about every person who had ever been ignored or dismissed. Crew members exchanged supportive looks, their postures straightening. A young flight attendant pressed record on her phone, capturing the moment for those who couldn't be present. Clara stood beside Monica, her gaze sharp and unwavering. No words were needed. Her presence was a statement. The tension that had gripped the cabin melted into a sense of unity and renewal. Whispers of encouragement and murmurs of solidarity filled the air, weaving through the rows of seats like a healing balm. The cabin felt lighter, as if a heavy fog had lifted. Monica looked out over the crowd, a small, steady smile curling at the edge of her lips. The fight was far from over, but this moment was theirs. Victory, however small, had been won. Monica rose slowly from her seat, the leather chair creaking softly beneath her. Each step toward the cabin's front was met with quiet nods and respectful glances from passengers and crew alike. Behind her, a group of young, vibrant flight attendants entered, fresh faces brimming with energy and resolve. The new team moved with precision and purpose, their uniforms crisp, their eyes shining with determination. Their presence alone radiated hope and determination, signaling the dawn of a new era. They gathered around Monica, a living symbol of the change sweeping through the airline. Above the cabin door, a sleek black and white sign was unveiled, "Respect First Protocol." The letters gleamed under the cabin lights, a manifesto for the future. Monica paused, her gaze sweeping over the assembled crowd. She knew the road ahead would be difficult, but this moment was a promise, a fresh start for everyone. She turned to her son Zion, who looked up at her with wide eyes. She smiled gently, squeezing his hand. Together, they stepped boldly into a new chapter, ready to rewrite the future. Warm sunlight filtered through the cabin windows, casting a gentle glow on Monica and Zion as they sat side by side. Zion's small hand rested calmly in his mother's, a quiet reassurance passing between them without words. Around them, the passengers settled back into their seats, some exchanging quiet smiles, others wiping away tears of relief. The atmosphere was charged with a profound sense of justice served and hope renewed. A soft murmur spread from the back. "This is the justice we needed." The words echoed softly but carried the weight of collective healing. Monica's eyes met Clara's, sharing a glance that spoke volumes, a promise of vigilance, integrity, and change. The cabin hummed gently with the steady rhythm of the engines, a subtle soundtrack to the end of a storm and the beginning of a new journey. In that silence, every heart knew this was not just an end, but a hopeful beginning. The cabin was no longer just a place to fly, it had become a symbol of change. Monica stood at the center of a bustling terminal, surrounded by a crowd waiting patiently, not for a flight, but for hope. Rows of people formed orderly lines, receiving care packages, smiles, and warm words from the new leadership team. Monica handed a small box to an elderly woman, her eyes shining with gratitude. Nearby, a banner fluttered gently overhead. "Respect First Protocol, a commitment to all." The energy was contagious. Employees who once hesitated now moved with purpose, their faces radiant with pride. Passengers shared stories of kindness, of dignity restored. Zion tugged gently at Monica's sleeve, drawing her attention. She knelt beside him, her eyes soft. "Do you see, Zion? This is what it means to stand for something bigger." Around them, laughter mingled with soft conversations, a harmony born from struggle and courage. No speeches, no grand declarations, just the quiet power of everyday acts, proving that change is not just possible, but unstoppable. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the terminal, Monica and Zion looked out together, hand in hand. The future stretched wide before them, uncharted, yes, but bright with promise. Respect was no longer a protocol, it was a promise fulfilled. If this story moved you, or if you've ever faced a moment when silence wasn't an option, tell us in the comments below. How would you stand up if you were in Monica's shoes? Your story might inspire someone else to find their voice and stand strong. Have you ever witnessed injustice that went unnoticed? What was your reaction? Did you speak up or stay silent? Share with us, leave a comment, and join the conversation. Don't forget to like and share if you believe in the power of truth and kindness. Subscribe to Unveiled Wealth and join a community where every voice matters, where silence breaks power and courage sparks change. See you in the next story.